the Football Game Plan Scout Team here on the Game Plus Network. I'm Emory Hunt, the czar of the playbook. We have an action-packed show today. I'm back in the studio after traveling the entire month long on a college all-star game circuit scouting 2020 NFL Draft prospects. And speaking of the NFL Draft, now that we're down in the Super Bowl era of the season between the Kansas City Chiefs and the San Francisco 49ers, that means that 30 of the 32 2020 NFL draft slots have all been decided. So I figured that'll be a great way to start the show by unveiling our latest 2020 NFL mock draft for January. Before we get started, we always like to look at the mock draft rules. Now, again, these picks are based off what I would do as a GM, not based off what I hear or what will happen or what I think will happen. This is what I would do as a general manager of these teams. These are also based off Football Game Plan Scouting or Big Board, which hasn't been done yet. This is still early in the process, so this is more along the lines of players you should definitely be familiar with that are household names so far in this process, and these picks are based off what I believe the team needs are. There are no trades in this mock draft, and remember, it is only a mock draft, so just sit back, chill out, and enjoy the presentation. The Cincinnati Bengals own the #1 overall pick, and to me, while there are some options for them to consider with this selection, I think the pick has to be Heisman Trophy winner Joe Burrow out of LSU. Burrow has that it factor that you want to see in your quarterback and has proven to be battle-tested in the biggest of games during his 2-year stint down on the Bayou. Burrow throws with touch, timing, and anticipation, and that's what you want to see in your signal caller, and has good athleticism as well to be a threat to take off and run. His game, to me, reminds me of a more mobile version of Matt Ryan. Now, looking at the rest of our top 5 in our 2020 NFL mock draft for January, and it's a heavy defensive focus with the Redskins, Lions, and Giants all going with players on that side of the ball. So it's hard for me to see a guy like linebacker Isaiah Simmons falling out of the top 5. He's such a tremendous player and athlete that someone will want his services very high in this draft. And with the Dolphins' first of 3 picks in round 1, I went offensive tackle Jedrick Wills out of Alabama. I know everyone wants to put Alabama quarterback Tua Tagovailoa there at number 5, but it's just hard for me to spend that high of a pick on someone who has battled injuries throughout his career and one who is also coming off of a hip injury. I look at the Fins as a team that could take a quarterback later in this round or in round 2, or even look toward free agency for their franchise answer at the position. The Carolina Panthers look to bolster their defense with the retirement of Luke Kuechly by addressing a position up front instead of at the second level with Derrick Brown out of Auburn. Put on his tape, this is a guy that wreaks havoc along the offensive line, one of the best players in the draft regardless of position. The Los Angeles Chargers have a lot of directions they can go in with their pick, as it's been rumored that they plan to move on from future Hall of Fame QB Phillip Rivers. So in the real draft, this could be another spot for a quarterback, but I went with the offensive lineman Andrew Thomas out of Georgia, as they also need help up front as well. Folks love to pontificate on the running back position and its lack of importance in round 1, but when you have a chance to take a difference maker at the position, you jump at the opportunity. Georgia Bulldogs running back DeAndre Swift is exactly that, and will give the Bucs something that they haven't had at the position in quite some time. In this mock draft, you can see that starting with the Jets, the run on the talented group of wide receivers start as Jerry Jeudy, T. Higgins, and Henry Ruggs III all go flying off the board. Denver also gets a stud corner in LSU's Christian Fulton to pair up with Chris Harris as they look to rebuild the no-fly zone out there in the Mile High City. The Atlanta Falcons have been trying to find a consistent pass rusher, and I like the fit of A.J. Epinesa here for the Dirty Birds, as he has the consistency that you look for. He's good on both ends of defense. I also think it's become obvious that the Cowboys need help at safety, so Grant Delpit out of LSU makes a ton of sense for them at pick number 17. And with 18, 19, and 20, we start to see the run on linebackers as well. And I don't believe Akeem Davis-Gaither out of Appalachian State will go in round 1, but he most definitely should go off based off his play. He reminds me a lot of former Jags linebacker Telvin Smith, who surprisingly retired before the season. It's been well documented and discussed all throughout the back half of the Eagles season their need for help on the perimeter. Now, in this mock draft, they get the explosive Jalen Reagor out of TCU to help give Carson Wentz a bit more juice out wide, with the hopes to make their offense more explosive and dynamic in 2020. Laviska Shenault out of Colorado would be a great fit in Buffalo. He's a versatile receiver that can win short, intermediate, or deep down the field, and he's also a fantastic run after the catch guy as well. The Dolphins wrap up their 3rd pick in round 1 with the foundation back in Wisconsin's Jonathan Taylor, who is one of the bona fide studs in this class. He has both the durability and the breakaway speed to set the table for the Dolphins' run game for the foreseeable future. Both the Baltimore Ravens and Tennessee Titans get better along the defensive front with Javon Kinlaw out of South Carolina and Yetur Gross-Matos out of Penn State, respectively. The Packers are another team that can go in many different directions with pick number 30, but I went with the offensive lineman Austin Jackson out of USC, as I see them needing to get better up front. And the last two picks are subject to change as the Super Bowl hasn't happened yet, but San Francisco adds a tremendous talent at corner in Damon Arnett out of Ohio State. I like his fluidity and his instincts at the position and could step in and star right away for San Francisco. The Chiefs add one of my favorite linebackers in Josh Uche out of Michigan, who showed good versatility down at the Senior Bowl last week. Some teams don't have first-round picks, so I didn't want the Bears, Steelers, Rams, and Texans fans to feel left out. Starting with the Bears, I think quarterback Jalen Hurts out of Oklahoma would be an ideal fit for Chicago and Matt Nagy's offense. He's the type of dual-threat player with great situational awareness that'll help maximize the talent the Bears have on the perimeter and also in the backfield. I also believe that Jordan Love out of Utah State and his passing ability will be the perfect fit for the Pittsburgh Steelers. With Big Ben slated to come back in 2020, Love would have the opportunity to continue to smooth out his game behind a future Hall of Fame quarterback in an offense that's tailor-made for his excellent physical tools. Now here's a look at both the Rams and Texans second-round picks in this mock draft, as we'll step aside for a quick commercial break and be back with more Football Game Plan Scout Team here on the Game Plus Network. Football Game Plan is brought to you in part by Ninth and Lux. Visit the website ninethandlux.com and check out the clothing gallery. Do You Music with featured artist IW in his latest album, Season 2. You can check that out on iTunes as well as doyoumusic.com. Nesby Phipps, art, life, entertainment. NesbyPhipps.com. Grind It Out Fitness. Visit the website grinditoutfitness.com and download the app. Welcome back to Football Game Plan Scout Team. Emory Hunt the Playbook here with you. And on my scouting journey, you come across talent that just jumps out at you and surprises you on the field. One of those players was quarterback Donovan Isom of Texas Wesleyan. When you watch you play and watch your game, you're a 6'4" quarterback, you got a rocket on, but you're able to make all the throws. How important is it for you when you're out there on the field to kind of impose your will? Because you see a lot of big guys come out there and they tend to play small, but you're out there, you're a big guy, but you tend to play big, and not just physically but also in the key moments of a game.
Yeah, man. So it actually goes back to high school. That's just something I've always been able to do. One of my high school coaches would tell me, when you dropping back throwing the ball, you're a quarterback, but when you tuck that ball and run, you better be a damn fullback. So, it just kind of stuck with me, and obviously I got smarter throughout the years because I can't be taking all these hits when I get to the next level like that. But nah, man, that's just something that stuck along with me, and I know when to get, if it's like 3rd and 3 or something like that, obviously I'm gonna fight my way to get the first down, and it's just something I always had like a chip on my shoulder, if you would say, with stuff like that.
What was interesting about, having the physical gifts that you have, let's talk about your arm strength, because that can be both a gift and a curse, because you have a guy that has a strong arm, and, when you see strong arm quarterbacks, a lot of them tend to say, okay, well, I can maybe wait a little bit because I know I could fit it in there, but I like how you throw it both timing and velocity with your passes. What have you been able to, or how have you been able to, get those two to work together and kind of break the mold of what people tend to think of? Oh, he has a strong arm, which means he's going to try to be a little bit late or try to fit it in there. But you actually throw with anticipation. The ball gets there on time. It gets there in a hurry.
I mean, it just all comes with repetition at the end of the day, man. With something like that, you have to practice that. You have to keep working and working and working at it. And back in when I was in high school and in college, I used to rely too much on my arm, as you was explaining, like those certain type of quarterbacks. I used to do that kind of stuff, and and then when people started picking me off, I had to change my game up a little bit, and it just comes with practice at the end of the day, man, and repetition. So, I feel like that's really going to carry my game a lot to the next level.
Bethune-Cookman head coach Terry Simmons does a great job of developing talent within his program, and his latest development, defensive end Marques has been doing a great job making a name for himself on the All-Star game circuit.
I was impressed with your game earlier in the season. I do broadcasting. I do a lot of the Morgan State games. I do some Georgetown games. I do some PSAC games and stuff like that. So I had some time. I had an evening Morgan State kickoff. I want to say it kicked off at 6 maybe, or maybe it was a 3 o'clock game. But whatever the case may be, Howard and Bethune played earlier in that day. I want to say like at noon. So I was like, okay, let me stop in, maybe check out a half and see what the buzz is about Ford and Merritt and Robinson. And man, I want to say the first 3 plays of the game you made, sack, TFL, disruption on a run play. It was impressive. When you look at your game and being disruptive, how have you been able to keep that consistent throughout the course of a season?
Well, honestly, I rely on my teammates a lot, the people around me to do their job. And then as long as everybody's doing what they need to do, I can perform at a high level. They won't be game planning against me as much, and we can all eat, you know what I'm saying? We all, do everything collectively, and as a team, that helps me perform better when everybody's all on point.
Yeah, it's interesting because I picked that game to go to just by happenstance, and it was one of your better games of the season. You had 2 sacks, 2 TFLs. And when you look at how teams were game planning against you, I thought this year a lot of teams tried to shy away from your side of the field.
Yeah.
Did you feel that during the season? And what does that do to your confidence when you say, man, they really are running one side of the field, not trying to run my way?
Yeah, I mean, you take it like how it is. Pretty much every team did that. I kind of expected it, but it was good, because we knew what plays to run in. We knew that they wouldn't run certain plays to our side, so that helped us out a lot in a lot of games. Sign of respect. So I didn't take it any type of way. If that's what they want to do, they can. I trust my boys to do what they need to do. So
yeah, it puts you guys in a great position defensively because you guys were one of the better teams this year in the FCS on the defensive side of the ball. When you look at how you play the position, everyone gets caught up in, is he a 9? Is he a 7? Is he a 5? Can he stand up and be an outside linebacker? Where do you see your skill sets right now, and where do you believe that you're best suited to play at the next level?
Honestly, I weighed 230 when I was playing for BCU. Right now I weigh around 252, and I can see myself playing outside linebacker or hand down defensive lineman. You know what I'm saying? I mean, now that I gained this weight, I feel like I could play any of it, whatever the team would need me to be. But I like rushing. I like rushing the quarterback. So as long as I can do that, I don't care where I'm at on the field.
How hard is it to gain weight? Because everyone talks about, okay, I'm gonna put on some pounds and add some muscle, what have you. But a lot of people, you had 4 years to do it in college. But how difficult is it, or how was it for you? And how have you been able to bulk up a little bit without losing your speed, quickness, and athleticism?
Oh man, I mean, I don't know how it happened. Honestly, once I got home, I started, I was on a meal plan and training with Cooper Performance in Tampa, and the weight just kind of started coming on ever since the season stopped, really. So I'm not sure what it was, because I went from, freshman year I wasn't at the, BCU at freshman year, but I was like 205. I was fresh, like really, really small. Then, I gained 10 pounds, and then 10 pounds again. And now I guess as I'm getting older, I'm just turned 22. So maybe it had to do something with age, but I haven't lost any speed. I've probably gotten a little bit faster. So that's a huge plus.
Yeah, it's always about having a counter for the counter, and watching you play again at the Howard game and also at the College Gridiron Showcase. Very impressive with what you put out there on the field, man. And we wish you the best of luck moving forward.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
I think that the main reason to choose HBCU is for the family atmosphere. The guys are going to get the core values that their parents taught them, that their family members tried to raise them. You'll have a close-knit atmosphere. You'll actually have guys that care about you as a person. So I think that's the main reason for choosing the HBCU.
Be sure to order your copy of the Go-Go Offense by Coach Brennan Marion on footballgameplan.com/GoGoOffense. Coach Marion goes through the ins and outs of his explosive offense, one that's tearing up the college football field and putting a lot of points on the scoreboard. Again, you can order your copy at footballgameplan.com/GoGoOffense. Football Game Plan is brought to you in part by Financial Coaching LLC, Investment, Retirement, Security, Stewardship Credit. Financial growth is in your hands. StewardshipCredit.com. Adrienne Marie Photo, photographer, writer, management. AdrienneMariePhotography.com. Lock Multimedia. Welcome back to Football Game Plan Scout Team here on the Game Plus Network. On my travels, especially on college campuses, it's great to get to speak with the coaches, but also get their thoughts on potential pro prospects, and who better to know their top players than the coaches as they're interacting with the scouts every time they come to the campus. Well, earlier this month, I went to Florida A&M to speak with head football coach Willie Simmons about the program, and he gave me a few rattlers to study in preparation for the 2020 NFL Draft.
Ryan, what can you say about a guy who leaves as the all-time leading passer at a place like FAMU, who some would dub quarterback U at this level? But Ryan's a phenomenal, young man, great leader. Seen the shares ups and downs here at Florida A&M, but has persevered, has really stuck through the challenges, and has left his mark on this program. But he has prototypical size. Ryan's a 6'3" guy. About 210 pounds, and runs better than many people give him credit for. So I think the NFL scouts will be surprised when they put him on the clock and see how fast he runs in the 40. But can make all the throws. When he sets his feet, when he throws in rhythm, he has NFL arm talent. And so I think the biggest thing for him will just be putting together a good, solid workout. Many scouts have talked about his physical ability. Now they want to sit him down, talk football with him, see how much he knows as far as coverages and things of that nature. But I think Ryan will be a guy that can definitely get into a camp and really impress some people with his physical ability.
Now you have a guy out there on the perimeter that also has some talent that can definitely do things well.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Marques Williams was the fastest player on our team. Is running track for the track team right now, and he's a sub 10.5 100-meter guy. So I wouldn't be shocked if he comes out on pro day and runs, sub 4.4s. And again, I even told the scouts that I said somebody's gonna have him at 4.3 or below on their clock, because he can really run. Extremely tough young man, asset in the return game, which is always valuable in the NFL when you can do more than one thing. Of course, when you're a receiver, if you're not the number 1 or 2 or even 3 guy, you got to have value in special teams. And I think Marques will bring value on anybody's special teams as a return guy, but also a guy that's tough enough and physical enough to run down on punt, run down on kickoff, and do all those things. So just a guy that loves football, great work ethic. Again, I think he's grown a lot as a wide receiver, but I think his niche at that level will be getting in, becoming a special teams player, and then slowly building himself into possibly a good slot receiver at the next level.
Now, it ain't all offense here at FAMU. You guys have a tremendous linebacker. And we're not going to talk about the junior that you guys have in the secondary that I really like, but let's talk about that linebacker that you have right there that's causing a lot of havoc.
Well, Elijah Richardson's a guy that, when I talk to the scouts and they ask me, of all the seniors, which one would you, put your money on? I tell them without a shadow of a doubt it's Elijah Richardson. I think Ryan will be a pro. I think Marques Williams definitely has the ability to be a pro. But Elijah Richardson has those intangibles. He has that leadership. He has that drive, that work ethic. Elijah's married with 2 kids. I mean, he lived a grown man's life during his time here at Florida A&M. Graduated with honors, 3-year starter, came back from injury from a torn ACL and led the team in tackles 2 years in a row. He's just a phenomenal football player, phenomenal young man. I know that any camp that he gets into, he's going to be the leader of that group. And like I told the scouts, after a few days of rookie minicamp, he's not just going to be the leader of the linebacker group. He's going to be the leader of all the rookies that are brought in. He's an old school leader. I hadn't seen one like him in my 15 years of coaching. A guy that just takes the bull by the horn, doesn't mind having those tough, hard conversations with his teammates, which now in the age of getting along, nobody really wants to challenge their brothers. Elijah Richardson has no problem challenging his brothers, and I think that's something that's going to give him a little bit of an edge or something different that maybe the scouts hadn't seen, because talking to coaches across the country, we're all looking for leadership. That's the one, aside from D linemen, right? We're all trying to find leadership, and he has a level of leadership that I haven't seen. And so I think all three of those guys will definitely have an opportunity at the next level, and I'm anxious and eager to see what they'll do. But Elijah's a special individual. Physically, he has some attributes. He can really, really run. He's a striker. But, again, when you talk about just being a hard worker, studying film, nuances of the game, offering suggestions, he just has it all. He doesn't have a weakness. And so I think he's definitely going to be the sleeper of the group. Ryan gets a lot more of the attention being the quarterback, but I think when it's all said and done, Elijah Richardson may be the one you look up that's had a 15-year career in the NFL and, made some Pro Bowls and even become a Super Bowl MVP or something like that.
So that's it for this edition of the Scout Team. I'm Emory Hunt, the czar of the playbook. Be sure to follow me on all of my social media accounts. And don't forget to check out and subscribe to the Football Game Plan Network located at youtube.com/footballgameplan. Also subscribe on iTunes to Football Game Plan Podcast. We can find our Scout Team podcast, which has a ton of 2020 NFL Draft prospect interviews. And be sure to leave us a 5-star rating.